A live look at Capitol Hill, where in just about an hour, the House Judiciary Committee's first impeachment hearing is set to begin. Here to weigh in our legal panel, we've got Fox News analyst down at the left side, Greg Jarrett, former Republican House and Senate Leadership Advisor Ashley Strong, and Democratic strategist Kevin Walling. Kevin, let's start with you. From your point of view, you say that you can count at least 5 potential articles of impeachment that the Democrats could write based on Mr. Schiff's show and their report that came out yesterday.
Yeah, it was a really compelling 300-page report that details this months-long campaign by the president to undermine his office, his oath. And I think one of the more startling things to come out of this is the phone records that were subpoenaed by AT&T and Verizon.
They're just numbers. We don't know
They're
what was
just
said.
Numbers and times of those calls. But with Rudy Giuliani speaking to the OMB, for example, why is the president's private attorney speaking to our budget office for 10 minutes at a time? Really compelling investigative work.
Ashley, is that really compelling? Because we don't. Is it a reason to kick a guy out of office?
Look, we have seen nothing yet to prove high crimes and misdemeanors. I think as a Republican strategist, I am remiss to say I agree with Nancy Pelosi's initial hesitation with moving forward on this. I think that she eventually had to cave to the left-leaning part of her party. And here we are, and they're in a box, and they can't get out. And I don't think anything in today's hearing will change that.
Today will be a tepid bore. Even the most enthusiastic, enthusiastic.
That's good for TV ratings. Come on, it's going to be dynamic.
Would fall asleep. You know, for 200 years, law professors, scholars have debated without resolution the meaning of the impeachment clause in the Constitution, and about all they've ever agreed on is that an opposing party should not exploit the impeachment clause and remove a president for political reasons. That, in my judgment, is exactly what Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, and Jerry Nadler are doing. And the framers feared that they would do it, which is why, in their wisdom, they instituted this procedural protection against it. 2/3 supermajority in the Senate to remove a president.
Kevin, and you know the math. There aren't that many senators who want to kick this guy out. So you got to wonder, why is Nancy Pelosi doing it? To your point earlier, it's not bipartisan across Congress. It just looks like a way to give him a bloody nose heading into 2020.
Well, I think, you know, as the Speaker has said, as Chairman Schiff has said, the President gave them no choice, right? And hopefully if a Democratic President had done this and Democrats were in control of the House, they would also move forward on these lines, because what they're speaking to is a generational issue between the first article of government and the second article of the Constitution, between the executive and the legislative. And that's also part of this report, too, is the stonewalling by this president and the administration. And if this goes unchecked and a Democrat gets in office and does this same thing, what will be the consequences then?
I think we're going to hear a lot of people sound just like you later today on the Democratic side. But Ashley, ultimately, with Nancy Pelosi, this is all about politics, and she's worried that she's going to lose the gavel next election.
I think that's right. I think ultimately, as I said, she had to cave to the left-leaning part of her party. That being said, if you look at states across the country and races across the country, this is not a popular issue for candidates to be talking about. And I'm from Montana. I live in Montana. We have an open seat coming up for the House of Representatives, and the leading Democrat candidate has refused to answer any questions on impeachment. If it were a winning issue, they would be campaigning on it.
What you're going to see today is that Jerry Nadler stacked the deck against Trump. 3 hand-picked, fairly liberal law professors who have expressed animus toward Trump or prejudged him already. I think in the end, people will pay attention to Jonathan Turley, who has tried to fairly dissect the evidence and make a decision on whether it constitutes an impeachable offense. So we'll wait and see.
We will indeed. All right, Kevin and Ashley and Greg, thank you very much. Great analysis. Let's hope it's not boring, though.
Tepid bore.
It's too easy for me to nap during the day, just saying. All right, we're going to step aside. More Fox and Friends. 2 minutes.